Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. Well, it's one of our favorite segments, Keep It or Crush It. And Dave, we're talking about this rare truck right here. It's a 1984 K10 pickup truck, man. It's a Scottsdale. This thing is phenomenal. You know, we got this thing for about $1,000. They go for $8,000 if we wash it, clean it, get it running, or we could go all the way with it. And this thing gets fetched $30,000 to $50,000 at the auction block. It's unbelievable.
And we've decided we're going to take it just to that first level where we're going to get that $8,000 price range, and we'll let somebody else do the restoration if they want to go that far.
Or I may keep it.
Hey.
We'll see. Dave, what do I look for in a truck? We're out here for an initial inspection. What do we want to look for?
Just like anything else we do with Tech Garage, you're pulling the tires off, you want to do a visual inspection of the brakes when we're doing that in the shop. When you walk up to a car and you want to look at it for a flip or to buy a used car, first thing you want to look at is see if the frame's bent. If you look down the line, down the edge, and you see that the rear wheels are out and the thing's crabbing down the road, it's clearly been in an accident and you want to walk away from that deal altogether. Now, another one that's a red flag, but not necessarily a no-go, is looking at the gaps between all of the panels, talking the hood, all the quarter panels and the doors, making sure those gaps are consistent as you go from front to back on the gaps or up and down on the gaps, and making sure they're consistent from the left side of the car to the right side of the car. If they're not, it could have been an accident. So again, I said it's a red flag, but there might be another cause. Maybe somebody hasn't mounted incorrectly, and that's an easy fix. Just be aware of something like that when you see it.
Right, you get a vehicle this old, Dave, you start dealing with rust. I mean, you know, this one, not so bad. There's some rust there, but if it's totally rusted out, when we go to tow it, it's flopping on the ground, walk away from it.
Structural damage, not good.
Structural damage, like the body shop issues, we're talking about $30,000 in body shop money just to go through the thing completely restored. So you might want to walk away as that. Another thing, mechanical integrity. That's huge. I mean, we start getting into the engine, we don't even know what we have. You want to make sure it's factory and it looks good. So let's take a look at the engine, but I got to warn you right up front, all right?
Yeah.
And a disclaimer to the camera crew. I think there's a ton of wasps, snakes, raccoons. I don't know what's under there, but I got my wasp spray. I'm ready to run.
The joys of finding a barn find in Florida, no doubt. If you're dealing with wasps, I'm going this way.
Yeah, bye, Dave. Well, when you're going to get in there, just make sure. First thing, I know there's a big wasp nest here, so I'm going to nail that. Make sure they drop. There they go. Oh, man, they're all over the place. Ah! All right, well, hopefully that took care of that. Well, I don't know. They'll fly around. We'll deal with it. But 1 can of wasp spray is a must when you pull something out of the woods. I start dealing with it. I'm going to come in here and just make sure and see what's in there. Now, I took a peek earlier. I know we have an engine, but what I'm looking for, oh boy, yep. Yeah, we got a snake skin over there. I don't know where he is, so I'm not going to get too close. We got all kinds of varmints in here, but what we do have, which is really cool, is a V8 engine. Don't know the mechanical integrity of it, but I got all factory parts on here, man. That means it's not been modified. That is huge. So we can keep this thing factory. We'll have to do a mechanical inspection inside. You have to join us for that next week, but it's important to have the inside mechanically sound. Not only mechanically sound, we want to make sure that the inside looks good as well. Dave, what do you got?
Johnny, we talked about the lines and looking at the gaps here, and I'm looking at the door. This is pretty darn perfect, and I love this. Check it out. Usually, cars this old, vehicles this old, the doors will sag, but not this one. It actually closes really nicely, which is a pretty good sign and a pretty rare deal. Now let's take a look at the interior. It's, well, it's seen better days, but if you look, these are notorious for having the dashes cut. People want to put different instruments, maybe update them. This one is actually original. We also have the original stereo there. That is a rare find, so super cool. We do have the body panel here from the passenger door. I don't think we're going to be able to save that. And as far as the seats go, well, you can go through the trouble of getting them reupholstered. But if you want to stick to an OEM type replacement, Rock Auto can help us there. John Gardner, what's going on underneath the vehicle?
Yeah, Dave, you enjoy that air conditioning while I swelter out here in this Florida heat, not to mention the wasp. But thank God for the magic creeper. It made easy work getting under there and checking it out. Well, what am I checking it out for? Well, we're looking for any structural damage. Dave mentioned that before. You know, we want to make sure the frame's not bent, broken, everything looks pretty straight. There's surface rust on it. Matter of fact, there's surface rust all over this truck. That's okay. I just don't want it rusted through where it's going to collapse or break. You could take a Scotch-Brite pad, scrub it all up. You can even have that patina look. We'll deal with that when we get to it. Now, the engine, there's no oil, there's no coolant massively pouring out of it, but we're not quite sure about the mechanical condition, so you want to stick with us till next week. We'll check into that and see how the mechanical condition. We'll get it down to the shop. But right now, we need to check in with Tom and Dave.
The technology in electric cars is mind-blowing, but it doesn't have to be intimidating, Tom, because the electrics are just a small part of what goes on in an electric vehicle. Now, RockAuto.com has batteries and things like that for electric vehicles. What else can I get on Rock Auto for my electric vehicle?
Yeah, a lot of the parts are identical to a gas-powered vehicle. The brakes, the wheel hubs, shocks, axles are the same. And yeah, don't let the car manufacturers, some of them would like you to buy a new car every 5 years and throw away your old one. Fight for your right to repair your vehicle. And since as a kid, I remember being told that these new high-tech cars, we can't work on these anymore. And fuel injection, you can't work on that, and that wasn't true. You can still work on cars. We may be entering a golden age for new gas-powered cars too. Some of the car manufacturers have said we're putting all our energy in the electric vehicles, so the gas-powered cars may stay the same for the next 15 years. So if they don't change anything, parts will be more readily available, easier to work on. You get familiar with your last car, you can work on your next car. So it could actually be a golden age. And we have like the battery packs for hybrid vehicles. An electric car doesn't have to be a disposable thing.
And to boot, you know, with gas-powered cars, a lot of folks are saying those are maybe even more green if you keep maintaining them instead of buying a whole new vehicle to begin with.
Right, yeah, electric vehicles make a lot of sense for fleets where they put 80,000 miles on the vehicle every 2 years. But if you keep your car for 15 years and put 100,000 miles on it total in that time, then yeah, the gas power can be greener.
In the coming weeks, you'll see how RockAuto.com lives up to the name. They have all the parts your car will ever need. We've got lots more Tech Garage presented by RockAuto.com. When we come back, don't go anywhere.